There was a winter where I barely went outside for about 6 weeks, and I came out of it moving like a much older man. Not injured, not ill, just stiffer, slower getting out of a chair, and holding the banister on the way down. What I want to say first is that the fix was not a gym, and it was not a program. It was 3 things I do inside the house, none of which look like exercise, and none of which need equipment or floor space or anybody watching. I still do all 3. I have done them for about 2 years now. No miracle cures, no scare stories, nothing to buy, just what's actually true. The one at number 1 is the one I could not do at all when I started. It took me 4 months to get it, and it is the one that changed the most. It is also the one nobody talks about because it looks undignified. That winter, there were 3 things I caught myself doing and said nothing about. I had started holding the banister going down, not just coming up. I was putting a hand flat on the wall to get my socks on, and there was a small noise I made getting out of the low chair, which I had definitely never made before. I thought that was just age. It wasn't. Number 3, standing on one leg while something else happens. This is the one that sounds too small to bother with, so I will say the surprising part first. Balance is not a thing you have. It is a thing you are currently practicing or currently losing, and there is no third option. Mine had been quietly going for years, and I only noticed it in the dark, on the stairs, when I could not see the next step. Here is the whole of it. While the kettle boils, I stand on one leg. That is it. There is no more to the activity than that. On the practical side, start next to the worktop with one hand resting on it, not gripping it, so that the hand is there if you need it. 10 seconds aside is a real starting point, and there is nothing embarrassing about 5. The progression is not longer. It is less hand. Fingertips instead of a palm, then one finger, then nothing, and only then start adding time. If standing at the counter is not comfortable, the seated version is genuine, and it is not a consolation prize. Sitting forward on a firm chair, lift 1 foot an inch off the floor and hold it there while you keep your weight even. Every kettle is enough to start with, which is twice a day for most of us, and I did exactly that for 6 weeks before I took a hand away. If the next day something feels tender in a way that is not settled by the evening, that is the signal to do less of it, not to lean harder on it. And I will say the honest part about this one. For the first fortnight, I felt ridiculous. A grown man on one leg in his own kitchen, watching a kettle. Then one evening, I came down the stairs in the dark without reaching for anything, and I stopped feeling ridiculous. That is number 3. Number 2 is the one that made me stop making 2 trips. Number 2, carrying things on purpose. For most of my life, I made 2 trips because 2 trips were easier. Shopping came in from the car in 2 goes. The washing went up in 2 goes. Then I noticed something about the way I was living, which is that I had stopped carrying anything heavy at all, anywhere, ever. The house had quietly arranged itself so that nothing needed carrying. Carrying a load and walking with it is one of the few ordinary things that asks the hands, the shoulders, the middle, and the legs to work at the same moment. It is not a substitute for anything, and I am not going to claim it is. But it is the difference between a body that has lifted something this week and one that has not. So I started making 1 trip on purpose. Start with something you can already carry comfortably for the length of a hallway, and do not go looking for something heavy on the first day. A full shopping bag in each hand is a sensible starting place, and half a bag in each hand is an equally sensible one. The progression is distance before weight. Walk further with the same load before you make the load bigger. If gripping is the limiting part, a bag over each forearm or a small rucksack takes the hands out of it entirely, and that is a real version of this, not a lesser one. Twice a week is plenty. I stayed at twice a week for 2 months before I carried anything further than the kitchen. And if something is still complaining the following day, rather than just tired, do less of it next time rather than more. What changed for me was mundane, and I like that about it. I stopped putting the shopping down halfway to the door. That is number 2. Number 1 is the one I put off for 4 months. Number 1, getting down to the floor and back up again. Here is the thing I could not do when I started, and I want to be exact about it. I could get down to the floor. Getting up was the problem. I got down once to look under a bed for something, and I spent a genuinely frightening minute working out how I was going to reverse it. I ended up shuffling sideways to the bed frame and pulling myself up on it with both hands, and I sat on the edge of that bed for a while, afterwards not thinking about anything in particular. Nobody was home. That was the part that stayed with me. I did not mention it to anybody for about a year, which tells you more about me than about the floor. This is the one nobody puts in a list because it looks undignified. And the reason it matters is precisely that it looks undignified. Every other thing in this video is about how you feel. This one is about whether the floor is a place you can go. Because if it is not, then a dropped set of keys is a problem. A grandchild on the rug is a problem. And a slip becomes a much longer event than it needed to be. So here is how I actually built it, and it took 4 months. Start beside a sturdy chair or the end of the sofa, not in the middle of a room. Go down one knee at a time, using the chair for as much of your weight as you need, and come back up the same way in reverse. Down, then straight back up. That is 1. 2 or 3 of those is a session, not 10. The progression is less furniture, not more repetitions. Over weeks, the hand on the chair becomes a fingertip, and eventually, a hand hovering near it. If getting to the floor at all is not on today, there is a genuine halfway version, and I used it for the first 6 weeks. Kneel on a cushion beside the chair, both hands on the seat, and practice only the coming up. Once or twice a week is enough for this. I did it once a week for 2 months, and I did not add anything. And this one especially, if something is sore the next day beyond ordinary tiredness, wait until it is not before you do it again. What I want to say about the 4 months is that almost none of it was strength. Most of it was that I had stopped believing it was something I did, and getting that back was slower than getting the legs back. The morning it worked without the chair, I did not tell anybody, and I've thought about that a lot since. Your day, start to finish. Here is where these 3 actually sit, which is not the order I ranked them in. The one leg happens at the kettle, twice a day, and it is the only one of the 3 I never have to remember, because the kettle remembers for me. The carrying happens on the days the shopping happens, which is twice a week, and it costs no extra time at all because it is the trip I was making anyway. And the floor is a Sunday thing, 2 or 3 times next to the same chair, and it takes under 2 minutes. Add it up, and it is a few minutes a week that live inside things I was already doing. That is the only reason I still do them. The honest part, on timing, because this is where I would have wanted a straight answer. The balance one moves fastest. 2 to 3 weeks, and the hand comes off the counter. The carrying showed up at about a month, and it showed up as an absence. I noticed I had stopped setting bags down, not that I'd got stronger. The floor took 4 months, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. If somebody had told me 2 weeks, I would have quit in week 3, feeling like a failure. Now what this cannot do. These 3 will not undo a bad joint, and they will not give anybody back a knee that is worn out. They are not a treatment for anything. If something is painful rather than difficult, that is a different problem with a different answer. And it is worth asking somebody about rather than working around. And here is the part that matters most. Most people stop something like this about a fortnight before it would have stopped feeling like a chore, which is the exact point at which it starts working. 2 weeks is where nearly everybody gives up, and it is the worst possible place to give up. Finally, the thing this niche never says. Some of the stiffness is not a training problem at all. Some of it is just a body that has done 60-odd years of work, and it does not owe you 30. If the mornings take longer to loosen than they used to, that may simply be true, and it is allowed to be true. Not everything after 60 is a problem waiting for a solution, whatever anybody is selling. So those are the 3. Number 3, standing on one leg while the kettle boils, because balance is only ever being practiced or lost. Number 2, carrying things on purpose, because the house had arranged itself so that nothing needed carrying. And number 1, getting down to the floor and back up, because the floor should be a place you can go. 3 things. No equipment, nobody watching. Tell me in the comments what you'd like explained next. I read every single one. A like helps this reach other people who would rather understand something than be frightened into buying it. And if you would rather have the honest version than the exciting one, that is the whole reason this channel exists. Here is to the healthy living years.